Yo, what's going on guys? Chase the Bro here, and welcome back to another Dark Souls 3 build video. Today I'm going to be showcasing my Flaming Swordsman build. Yes, I know, quite a funny name. Actually, it was inspired by a Yu-Gi-Oh card, if you must know. But just as the name suggests, it is a build that is centered around both being a swordsman and a pyromancer. Now, there are many different ways that you can pull off this build. You can use whatever weapon you'd like. I just chose to go with the Astora Greatsword because when it's infused with a Dark or a Chaos gem, it gets an A scaling in both Intellect and Faith, which is pretty much what your build is derived of, so it works perfectly. Not to mention that the Astora Greatsword does some pretty serious damage. Per swing I'm getting 350 to 450 damage depending on my opponent's resistances. As you can see, that guy only took around 350 because he was heavily armored, so... As for the pyromancy aspect of this build, whatever pyromancies you choose are really up to you. I personally like having the Black Serpent with the Chaos Bed Vestiges because sometimes if you connect the Black Serpent, you're lucky enough to also combo it with the Chaos Bed Vestiges. I know it's not a true combo, depending on how they get hit with the Black Serpent, but a lot of the time when I connect with that, I also connect with the Chaos Bed Vestiges. And in my final slot, I have Fire Surge, of course, because it's ideal for finishing off opponents that have that pesky under 100 health level, and you just want to finish them off, so you just walk up to them, shoot them with the Fire Surge, and you're just going to finish them off quickly that way. Now, other than the Chaos Bed Vestiges, I would suggest the Great Chaos Fire Orb, because it does do some insane damage when you connect with the initial hit, and the lava on the ground that lands underneath them also causes them damage. So it's great if you're good at free aiming and throwing that without locking on, but I personally am not, so I'd go with the Chaos Bed Vestiges. I'm really enjoying the buffs the most recent patch has brought because now all infusion scalings have been increased, so it's actually viable to use an infused weapon in PvP. Beforehand, I would have never used any infused weapons really, I always went with buffs, but the Dark Astora Greatsword does some pretty decent damage with a Pyro build, and the fact that I can have a main weapon while having all my pyros at the same time is extremely fun. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, what the hell are you using an Astora Greatsword infused with a Dark Gem for when you have the Demon Scar? Well, honestly, the Demon Scar is amazing. I have a build centered around that entirely. But having an Ultra Greatsword with Pyromancies is also extremely good because the Hyper Armor you receive on the Astora Greatsword is insane. So when opponents are trying to constantly get in close to you because you're shooting them with pyros, it's very beneficial to have that hyper armor. Just think about it for a second. When you're fighting a pyromancer, you want to get in close because they're always spamming you with the pyros from afar, and you think you're going to do much more damage up close than you would from afar because you have no way of fighting from afar with a regular weapon, right? So, as they rush in to attack you as a pyromancer, all you need to do is trade with the light attack of the Astora Greatsword. It has amazing hyper armor, and you're going to power through them and get to connect 2 attacks, which is automatically going to be between 800 and 900 damage with this build. Not only that, but after you connect those 2 hits, when someone's retreating, you can always try to connect one of your pyromancies. For me, I always try to throw a Chaos Bed Vestige afterwards, because it usually gets them when they're rolling away for some reason. It catches them during their roll if they're not anticipating the pyromancy attack right then. And I just think it's amazing to incorporate swordplay with pyromancy. I don't know, it's a lot more fun. You can switch up your playstyle, you can two-hand your weapon if they're doing well against your pyros, and if they're seeming to be really weak against your pyromancy attacks, you can just full force use your flames only. But that's pretty much all I have to say about the build. I hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay of it, but I'm going to bring you guys on over to my stats so you can check them out, although most of you probably know it is a 40-40 Intellect Faith build. Alright guys, let me just show you the stats really quick. So like I said, it is a 40-40 Intelligence Faith build. Because Pyromancy scales both off of Intelligence and Faith, you're going to want to get to the soft cap with both of them. That's how you get the ideal damage for your pyros. As well, you may have noticed that this is probably one of my first soul level 130 builds, and that's just because I had all the pyromancies and everything that I needed on my soul level 130 character. So I probably could have optimized this for soul level 120, but it worked out pretty well at 130. Other than the Intellect and Faith, you're going to need to hit the requirements for the Astora Greatsword, which is 16 strength and 18 dexterity if you plan on one-handing it, which I definitely recommend because you're going to be doing the pyromancies out of your left hand. And other than that, you're going to need 4 attunement slots at the least in my opinion, because you're going to want one of the more powerful pyromancies like the Chaos Bed Vestiges or the Great Chaos Fire Orb. And it's always good to have 3 pyromancies to switch it up and confuse your opponent. If they know you're only running 2 different ones, then they only have to look out for 2 different ones. So I definitely recommend having at least 3. As for the rest of your stat points, it's really up to you how you allocate them. I wanted a higher health pool than I did an endurance pool, so I went with 36 vigor and the 30 endurance. I would have ideally even liked to have more health. I feel a little squishy with that much health. 40 is my favorite, but I dealt with it and it worked out pretty well. And that's pretty much it for the stats, so I'm just going to bring you guys on over to my equipment. So I am running the Dark Astora Greatsword, and I would have used the Chaos one to fit the build more, but I didn't have a Chaos gem, so the Dark one is identical. It does the exact same damage. And I get 654 AR two-handing it, and 637 AR one-handing it. I'm also running both fire gloves for the hell of it. Also, the Pyromancer's glove has the better weapon art. The Parting Flame is better for PvE because it restores your Estus, but in PvP, you're not really going to get that off. I'm also wearing what I consider a Pyromancy set, Firelink Helm, the Slave Knight armor, the Mirror Chain Gauntlets, and the Ring Knight leggings. I'm running the Great Swamp Ring because it boosts your Pyromancies. The Witch's Ring also greatly boosts your Pyromancies, and they stack together. The Sage's Ring +2 is needed because it shortens your spellcasting time and your pyrocasting time. It's the same thing. And the Ring of Favor +3 because it is a staple ring in Dark Souls 3. And that's pretty much everything for my Flaming Swordsman build, guys. If you guys have seen any of my previous videos, then you know I enjoy using the Astora Greatsword, and incorporating it into a Pyromancy build was extremely fun for me. And if you enjoyed the video, guys, then how about giving it a like? It's there on PC, there on the phone. Smash that like button. And if you guys haven't seen any of my Bloodborne streams lately, I've been streaming them most days at 5:30 p.m., so come check that out if you're interested. And I want to thank you guys for supporting my channel. As always, thanks for watching. Chase the Bro out.